I want to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered here on Treaty 1 land in the heart of the Métis homeland. We acknowledge with respect the history, spirituality, and culture of the peoples with whom Treaty 1 was signed. We acknowledge our responsibility in the spirit of collaboration as treaty members, and we honor the heritage and gifts of Métis people. It is really quite surprising for me to realize that this is my third State of the University address. Time moves quickly on campus, especially for people my age. As you get older, time goes by faster. But a constant for me is I continue to be impressed by the quality of the work that happens here and the reach that you have in the community. As you know, this is a special year for us as we celebrate our 50th with roots that go back 145 years. We have for decades nurtured talented people who have shaped our province, our country, and beyond. What does an award-winning Métis storyteller, a student selected as African Entrepreneur of the Year, and a children's health researcher all have in common? The answer is us. They each started the pursuit of higher education on this campus. So let me share a few stories about some of the extraordinary people who have passed through our doors. Our alumna, Katerina Vermette, is a Métis storyteller. Her debut novel, The Break, who here has read that? Lots of hands. It's an incredible novel, and it has been winning many literary awards. Katerina returned to school as an adult, and she says, so she could take classes with Catherine Hunter and Margaret Sweatman. And I can tell you when I walk through that hall and I see them with new students, I wonder if all of our students understand just how fortunate we are to have that caliber professor here at U of W. A recent computer science graduate named Lester Adu, originally from Ghana, realized that students were homesick for their favorite African products, so he created an online marketplace. Some of his profits go to supply books to African countries, and Lester was honored with the African Male Entrepreneur of the Year by Frost Management. Dr. Megan Azad graduated in 2004 with a degree in biochemistry. Today, she is a scientist at the Children's Hospital in Manitoba. You may have recently heard about her research on maternal peanut consumption during breastfeeding as a factor in the prevention of peanut allergies, widely reported in the media. This is an issue that affects many, many families, including mine. And I can tell you for 20 years, I felt guilty about that one peanut butter parfait. And now I realize I should have consumed more. But those of you who have met my husband can imagine him at the front of kindergarten, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 with an EpiPen giving a demonstration. And he did self-inject on a couple of occasions. So not all of our scientists are household names, yet really it is hard to imagine a much more worthwhile career than improving life for children. So if you go to our 50th anniversary site, you'll see dozens of profiles, patchwork of stories of individuals that collectively forms a quilt of our collective history. If you haven't gone to this site, please do so. It's very interesting to see all these people quietly going about their lives while serving the community in their own way. And it is one of the reasons I feel so connected to this place. Manitobans are actually quite humble, and when I look across this room, I see world-class researchers and top-quality educators who are impacting the lives of young people every day. I regularly get asked, what is the big vision for the University of Winnipeg, and what is next, and do you like it there? I came here in 2014 for a number of reasons. I was grateful to this place for really giving me the confidence to lead. I was aware of U Winnipeg's impact in the city. Whenever I came home for weddings, funerals, I could see what was happening, and I wanted to be a part of it. So what exactly is my role anyway? That's a little hard to describe. Stabilizer, navigator, I don't know, whatever. But really, as a leader, my focus is on the overarching purpose, to constantly look for ways to build on our strengths and to strengthen our foundation. My role really is to support your work, to develop an environment where faculty and staff support each other, and that allows you in turn to support and inspire our students. Our vision is both rational and attainable. I say our because we did it together. And I'm proud of the support we got from faculty and staff and a commitment from the Board of Regents in shaping this direction. Unlike other documents that I've prepared in my past life, this document is not sitting on a shelf. We were actually making progress. It outlines a series of actions. Our first strategic priority is academic excellence and renewal. Really, our mission is the pursuit of academic excellence, and when I talk about the academic core, it's the foundation of what we do, teaching and research. Any house, big or small, requires a strong foundation, and we know that our strength lies in the activities that are led by you inside and outside of the classroom. And we are strengthening our foundation in a strategic and deliberate way. Many of you helped inform the integrated academic and research plan, and we are making progress on that plan. For example, a lot of people today talk about the need for more work-integrated learning, and we are looking for ways to more actively recruit and prepare organizations to host practicum students and interns. As part of our commitment to academic excellence and student success, we have allocated $30,000 to support 9 experiential learning projects. And I want to talk about the impact a few of those grants are having. Dr. Dawn Sutherland is offering an education field school in the Philippines. This year, her students will be running an outreach program for street kids in Manila. Dr. Dean Peachy is offering a field course in Israel and the West Bank. His students have an opportunity to see and hear firsthand the realities experienced by people living on both sides of the Green Line. And we're looking for more experiential learning opportunities. For example, we are working with the City of Winnipeg on a climate change course. Within our academic mission, we identified our second strategic direction, research excellence, knowledge mobilization, and impact. This is one of our greatest strengths, and I'd like to share a few examples with you. Dr. Annette Shrivastaf's research team is trying to develop a simple test to detect and diagnose colorectal cancer, possibly through a blood test. As you know, Canada is integrating thousands of refugees from Syria. More than half of those refugees are under 17. Dr. Jan Stewart is leading a Canadian study, and this research is helping educators do what is best for refugee children so they can succeed in their new country. A few months ago, I was sitting in the Winnipeg airport, and I saw an Inuk woman with a tiny, tiny days-old baby. And I thought, my first thought was, wow, is she ever brave to be traveling on her own? And then I felt kind of stupid because I realized she had no choice. She had come to Winnipeg to have a baby. She wasn't going off to visit people. She had no choice. So I want to tell you a little bit about Dr. Jamie Cedro's work because she's looking at Indigenous doulas for First Nations women, working closely with the First Nations Health and Social Secretariat of Manitoba. Another example, Dr. Janice Thiessen has some delicious research underway. Her new book explores the history of Canadian snack foods and the producers and workers who make Old Dutch potato chips, Hawkins cheesies, and Ganong chocolates. I had a very charismatic Old Dutch potato chip salesman who delivered potato chips in the white shell. And one of the funniest stories I've ever heard is my 14-year-old cousin who went to work and crossed the picket line so her dad had potato chips to sell and got buried in potato chips. So I have some stories to share with Janice. And we all love our elm canopy. This summer, in cooperation with the City of Winnipeg, students with our Center for Forest Interdisciplinary Research conducted field research on Dutch elm disease. With Dr. Richard Westwood's guidance, the students monitored infected trees to determine which should be cut down quickly. This could slow the movement of disease-carrying beetles. So these are just a few of the tangible examples of the impact each of you is having in the broader community and how we add value and expertise. As part of our knowledge mobilization efforts, in June we joined a new national nonprofit called The Conversation Canada. This web platform shares analysis and commentary based on research, evidence, and insights generated by Canadian universities. 4 of our faculty have been published so far. Dr. Shannon Sampert was out early on female politicians, Dr. Jan Stewart on war, trauma, and children, Dr. Jason Hannon wins the award for most interesting title on trolling and Trump, and Dr. Sylvie Albert on smart cities, and I think she actually has received the most reads, and that might have something to do with the global forum that we co-hosted this week. We also welcome Shannon back this spring as Director and Editor-in-Chief of Evidence Network, which is now here on campus. This network creates original media content on health policy topics for publication in the mainstream media. These tools help you get your expertise known to a broader audience nationally and beyond, and they remind people of the relevance of our institution. Our third strategic direction is strengthening student experience and success. Over the past year, we have started to really drill down and better understand who our students are and how we can best support them. This means collecting more detailed and specific data and allowing our experts in institutional analysis to crunch numbers and offer insights. We've discovered some very interesting things about our students. Our data shows that our students work hard in class and outside in the job world. 3/4 of our students attend full-time and also work while attending school. They are more likely than average to use their own finances to pay for their education. 58% live at home with parents, while compared to just 36% nationally. And here was something quite surprising to us. 2/3 of our students managed to graduate without carrying debt, and these are most likely the students living at home with their parents working. It appears that our students have a strong prairie work ethic. We delivered $4.5 million in scholarships and bursaries and awards to students last year. So this information really helps us think about how to better target the students who really need the financial supports to make it through school. We also want to expand our understanding of the benefits of obtaining a U-Winnipeg degree. We know our graduates leave with important skills such as critical thinking, social engagement, communication, respect for diversity, and problem solving. But where does it take them? We have developed our first ever graduate outcome survey, and it will hit the field this fall to help us better understand the employment rate of our graduates, their aggregate economic impact, levels of civic engagement, the relevance of their program and study to their future life after university, and many other important factors. Our third strategic direction is indigenization. In the classroom and hallways, people are engaging in crucial conversations about reconciliation. It was just, a little over 2 years ago, on June the 2nd in 2015, when the nation paused to listen to now Murray Sinclair deliver the seminal Truth and Reconciliation Commission report. More than 700 of us gathered in Riddell Hall to witness this event. This report is a blueprint for change. Reconciliation, education, and collaboration are interwoven strands of the same braid. We each have a role to play in that journey. We have among the strongest rates of Indigenous student participation in Canada, with 13% of our first-year students self-identifying as First Nations, Métis, or Inuit. We also recognize that many Canadians have not been exposed to Indigenous history or perspectives. That's why last year we heeded an important call to action and became one of the first universities to make sure that all new students had the opportunity to learn about Indigenous people and culture. Last year, there were more than 15,000 registrants in 27 courses that met the Indigenous course requirement. And many of the students were surprised at how little they knew. And many of them were, actually were quite annoyed that they had never learned this before. And it's worth remembering that this idea came from our students. I'll be the first to acknowledge there are growing pains. We're learning how to effectively deliver on this initiative, and we know we need to better support faculty and better support students. But we also know we're on the right path, and we know there's a genuine desire to embrace the spirit of reconciliation. And I do want to thank faculty members here for doing that, because I talked to presidents in other institutions, and they marvel that we're where we are. We're doing other things as well. We recognize the critical role of language as a carrier of culture, tradition, and knowledge. We're offering more Ojibwe and Cree credit courses, and through the Witchywaganuk Learning Center, we have free Ojibwe classes for neighborhood residents. This summer, we offered a very effective Indigenous Scholars Program, 8 students working on projects ranging from water facilities in First Nations to climate change. They were supervised by faculty, and they earned a salary for their work. Most importantly, these students felt mentored and supported. I met several of them at a lunch, and they are clearly role models. Half of the Indigenous students who attend UWinnipeg self-identify as Métis, and I'm very proud of this new partnership that we've just been able to announce with the Manitoba Métis Federation, which will provide us with $600,000 over the next 10 years for Métis-related research projects. This is in addition to a long-standing partnership with the Manitoba Métis Federation and its education arm, the Louis Riel Institute, which has allowed more than 600 Métis students to follow their dreams here at the UWinnipeg. Our new fall enrollment numbers show that Indigenous students seeking advanced degrees at UWinnipeg has doubled to 7.5%. This is an upward trend which we hope will continue with the right supports in place, like the Indigenous Summer Scholars Program. This summer, we also tried out an interesting pilot project in the North End called Youth United at Winnipeg. Inspired by the TRC report, the course blended community work with in-class learning through our Urban and Inner City Studies department. It's a unique partnership funded by the City of Winnipeg, and it will run again next year. We've also hosted a number of interesting spring and summer institutes that combined Indigenous knowledge with experiential learning. I'll touch on just a few. Dr. Shailesh Shukla offers a field course on site at Fisher River First Nation. He also takes students to Kasikawaywinin First Nation near Riding Mountain National Park for a course in ethnobotany. In partnership with elders, students are exposed to plants and their medicinal and nutritional values. Dr. Mark Rummel takes students to participate in local Indigenous ceremonies to learn about Indigenous healing and worldviews. Students went to the Bannock Point petroforms in the Whiteshell and camped out at the Spruce Woods Sundance in June. Dr. Roland Bohr moved students out of the classroom and onto a bison farm near Rossburn. Students worked with elders from nearby First Nations to learn about bison culture and traditional technologies, such as tanning hides and making archery equipment while living in traditional teepees. I had a good experience here as a student, but I kind of wish I could come back for a do-over. And I'm really impressed with the creativity that our educators are using to lay the path for reconciliation in new and different ways. Our 5th strategic direction is one I think a lot about as president. We rely heavily on provincial government grants, and we're living in a time of austerity in Manitoba. A shocking statistic is I think the debt interest payments are more than they invest in the post-secondary system right now. That's a bit scary. So last May, our Board of Regents did approve an operating budget that eliminated $3.7 million in costs. Good news is we did balance the budget, which we are required to by provincial law. So we've had to make tough choices to make sure our foundation is strong, but we elected not to just cut across the board, but rather we tried to take a targeted approach that's aligned with our overall strategic directions. And our top priorities are really about preserving academic excellence and student services, student supports. We also anticipated and complied with the directive to reduce administrative positions by 15%. So as a university, we are very nimble, and we are by every measure, and let me tell you, Mike Emsley has many, many graphs to show this. We are very, very efficient, but I don't want to just be efficient. I want to be effective. But by any measure, we are incredibly efficient. So we're trying to be creative. We're trying to look for new sources of revenue. Many of you know that we have a collegiate on campus. We offer English language programs. We have a professional and applied continuing education program. And these programs offer a revenue stream for our university. Many of you would also know that we have the University of Winnipeg Community Renewal Corporation. Diversity Foods is a part of that enterprise. And They were initially set up to help us get our buildings built the way Gino described over the last 10 years. And building on that success, we've launched CRC 2.0, kind of like a software platform. And the idea is to take the skills, expertise, and principles, and remember their principles are very much about doing things in a socially responsible way, beyond our campus, and in so doing, to create a modest revenue stream for our university. Some of you would know that other universities are situated on large plots of land, and what they sometimes do is become a developer of that land and use that as a revenue source. So places like UBC and others can do that. Well, we're kind of landlocked, but what we can do is work with our neighborhood and try and do something similar. So to reduce some of the pressures on our operating budget, the University of Winnipeg Foundation has also contributed more to entrance scholarships. So one of the things I like about the U of W, I like many things. One of the things I like a lot is, we're good at forming strong partnerships, and maybe it has something to do with where we are downtown, our smaller size, our commitment to community, but we are natural collaborators. So our faculty members already attract more than $7 million through Tri-Council funding, and I can tell you that we punch above our weight, you punch above your weight there. But we're also leveraging that in innovative ways, and we are sometimes out there looking for private donations. So one that is up and coming soon is we are building a GPU lab. I know some of you know what GPU is, but it's Graphics Processing Unit. It's an initiative led by the two Chris's, Christopher Henry in Applied Computer Science and Dr. Christopher Bednowski in Physics. And they're using the technology from video game computer chips. And they're applying that in different ways. So some of you would have read the newspaper about the Global Forum big conference on machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. That is what this GPU lab is all about. And that is a disruptive technology that is really going to have incredible implications. And I encourage all of you to think about what we need to do to get ready for that. And it's about more than developing people with the skills. It's about thinking through some of the ethical implications of what the art of the possible is with that technology. Other collaborations that we're quite proud of recently, Dr. Angela Fehler, our Canada Research Chair in Culture and Public Memory, is establishing a knowledge mobilization hub in Centennial Hall. So these collaborative partnerships have impact outside, and they also help us build our internal resilience. I want to talk a little bit about the University of Winnipeg Foundation. It has done a lot of work over the last year to think about how it is aligned with our values and mission. So this is an entity that was created by the university to fundraise, to invest the money they get that people ask to put in endowments, and then they give us back that money according to our priorities for scholarships, bursaries, buildings, programs, you name it. And this spring they announced their first policy, a responsible investment policy, and committed to offer donors a green fund choice. So this ESG policy basically strengthens our financial resilience by incorporating environmental, social, and governance factors in the investment process. They have also recently joined the Intentional Endowments Network. And some other good news, as a result of the dialogue on divestment, the various conversations that have happened over the last couple of years, the pension fund will have a new divested fund called the RBC Fossil Fuel-Free Global Equity Fund that is basically available to members in the defined contribution plan, I think as of October 1st. So these are steps that are quite aligned with what most universities in Canada are doing. Another key element in creating strong institutional resilience is our ambitious and attainable sustainability strategy. Led by Alana Lajoie-O'Malley, about 2,400 people participated in a campus-wide engagement last fall. This informed a new sustainability strategy, a blueprint that includes 19 measurable targets. Our big goal is to cut our campus emissions in half by 2020 And we then aim to achieve, listen carefully, 0 emissions by 2035. That's ambitious, and it's attainable. So one project currently underway to help us get there is we are installing a small biomass heating system for the Ashdown heating plant. This is the first downtown application of biomass technology in Manitoba. And we've set a goal of 5% of our total energy use coming from renewable energy sources other than hydro, such as solar, geothermal, wind, and sustainable biomass by 2025. Annette's team is also in the early stages of developing a campus-based social enterprise that will deliver waste auditing services to businesses throughout Winnipeg. This is another form of knowledge mobilization, sharing our expertise while providing new experiential learning opportunities for students. So as you can see, the strategic directions we created together are finding life throughout our institution. We have a lot on the go, and let's think ahead to 2018. So our last major capital campaign ended in 2011. It was ambitious, and it's what allowed for all the buildings you see around you, the Buehler Center, the Richardson Building. It helped to revitalize our campus and added important facilities to our surrounding community, more housing, recreation, and daycare. We have a daycare expansion currently underway that will allow 32 new children and 9 new employees to campus. And this summer, we added the beautiful Leatherdale Hall just behind, if you haven't seen it, made possible by a lead gift from Louise and Doug Leatherdale. And this new space enhances our ability to bring people together to share ideas and knowledge. And it also brought the much-loved Tony's Canteen back to life. So we've spent a decade expanding and building, but today our needs are a little bit different. And I know last year many of you participated in brainstorming sessions to think about what we need to do to enhance our campus. It was called ACE for short. We wanted your insights to help shape our next capital campaign. And we want to make sure that what we do next lines up with our strategic directions, our integrated and academic research plan, and our sustainability policy. So what did we find out during this consultation? First, there was a real understanding and consensus that we are about the right size. We don't need to chase more growth just for growth's sake. Second, there's a strong desire to invest in just general renewal and to pay attention to the smaller things. We heard that our classrooms need to be flexible and cutting edge, and that we need general sprucing up of spaces and furnishings to ensure learning comfort. I did visit the orange and yellow cubicles in the library, and although I was quite nostalgic and I'd be happy to buy one, I would actually like to replace the one I buy with a new one for somebody else. But this place does need a little bit of love and attention. We need better student lounges, and we need more spaces for groups to work together. And we know technology's changed, so we need to be connected and powered up, which is one thing I like about Leatherdale Hall. If you go look down the stairs, you'll see students leaning and with their laptop plugged in. And the big things that everybody seemed to agree on, the modernization of Centennial Hall is a priority, and the library needs special attention to become a learning commons for the 21st century. There was also the desire to provide more visual incorporation of Indigenous life on campus. And one of the accomplishments in the past year that I quite like is this artwork at the entrance of the Axelworthy Health and Recplex. This artwork is a collaboration between Ebb and Flow First Nations, the University of Winnipeg, and artist-architect Eduardo Aquino. We also heard during the ACE process that we should provide more supports for Indigenous faculty and staff. So please have a look at the ACE report. It's been posted on the website, and I do want to thank all of the committee members who volunteered their time. This report, too, will not be shelf art. It will inform the conversations we have with the province and with the Board of Regents and our next capital campaign. Also ahead for early 2018 is the complete transformation of Merchants Corner on Selkirk Avenue. He's looking pretty good there. This is Jim's labor of love, but I spoke to him about 10 days ago, and it was not a good day. But he said, Annette, I know it's going to be better, but he's right at that really hard part. incredibly ambitious undertaking, many, many years in the making. It will provide a seamless educational hub and some new housing opportunities in the North End. And we're really proud to be a part of this. So finally, let me close by saying being here for the 50th has been a lot of fun. I do sometimes feel like telling people, could we just play and laugh? Like, we deal with really serious things here, and we did get a little silly. Diane, I can't look at you anymore without seeing you doing your disco thing. But it also gave us a chance to reflect about where we've been and where we want to go. You know, universities are interesting places because we do things that are kind of medieval on occasion. You know, on the one hand, we know that we've been expected to serve the public, like that's not a new concept, that goes back to 12,000 AD. So we're very enduring institutions. Where else do you wear medieval robes? But at the same time, we are under tremendous pressure to change, to be innovative, to add more value. Value as seen by whoever it is thinking we need to change. We know we're a civic university with a strong sense of purpose. We contribute to society by teaching, by research, and by community service. We know that ideas, expertise, causes, passion, energy will never be in short supply on our campus. Our 50th anniversary reminds us that we have a long legacy of being a very important fabric of this city, of this province, of this country. We know we have incredible, dedicated, talented faculty and staff that have nurtured and inspired generations of students who are now out in the world adding value. We know that our 50,000 graduates are leaders and engaged citizens, and that is in part due because of the start they got here. So as our 50th anniversary draws to a close, I would like to draw your attention to a series of short videos prepared by our communications and media services staff for our legacy dinner last month. Please have a look. They're very well done. And while you're at it, you have to go look at the 1973 shots of the graduates right after they convocated. That one's special because I started here in 73. I wasn't even 17. I'm just kidding. It's a long time ago. But, you know, the first guy they interview, they go, so, do you think your degree will get you a job? And he very coolly says, well, why would I expect that would be what would get me a job? I came here to learn. I'm educated. I know how to learn. Anyways, you have to watch it. It's very good. So I do want to thank you for coming out today. I know you have questions, and I'm looking forward to them. And I think Gino will come back up here and kind of MC just to make sure I'm keeping track of who puts their hand up in what order. So thank you very much.